The Battle of Karbala, fought on October 10, 680 AD, 10th Muharram, 61 AH, stands as a pivotal event in Islamic history. It is not merely a tale of a historic battle, but a profound narrative of sacrifice, devotion, and the quest for justice. The events leading to the tragic confrontation in the plains of Karbala, where Hussein bin Ali, the grandson of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his followers stood against the tyrannical rule of Yazid, continue to inspire millions of Muslims worldwide. This video delves into the complete story of Karbala, exploring the key events, the central figures, and the enduring legacy of this monumental series. After the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the period known as the Rashidun Caliphate began, lasting until Ramadan al-Mubarak. The 6-month caliphate of Imam Hussain is also counted among the Rashidun Caliphate. After this, the caliphate transformed into a monarchy. The era following the Rashidun Caliphate is known as the Umayyad Caliphate, which was founded by Hazrat Muawiyah, may Allah be pleased with him. Hazrat Muawiyah ruled for 19 years. After his death in Rajab 60 his son Yazid succeeded him. At that time, many of the companions of the Prophet, including Hazrat Abdullah bin Umar, Hazrat Abdullah bin Zubair, Hazrat Numan bin Bashir, and Imam Hussain bin Ali, were still alive. Imam Hussain resided in Medina with his family. The capital of the caliphate was in Damascus, approximately 1,000 kilometers from Medina. After the death of Hazrat Muawiyah, people pledged allegiance to Yazid. Yazid then sought allegiance from those who had refused to pledge during Hazrat Muawiyah's time. Yazid wrote a letter to the governor of Medina, Walid bin Uqba, informing him of Hazrat Muawiyah's death and instructed him to forcibly take allegiance from Imam Hussain, Hazrat Abdullah bin Umar, and Hazrat Abdullah bin Zubair. Walid consulted Marwan and called the individuals to Darul Amara. When Walid informed them of Hazrat Muawiyah's death and read Yazid's letter, he demanded allegiance from Imam Hussain. Imam Hussain requested a night to consider, which Walid granted. Realizing that Medina was no longer safe, Imam Hussain decided to leave. On the night of 28 Rajab, accompanied by 84 companions, including his family, he left for Mecca. According to tradition, he spent 2 nights praying at the graves of his mother, Hazrat Fatima, and his brother, Imam Hassan, before leaving. In Mecca, most of his close relatives, including his sons, nephews, and nieces, accompanied him, except for Muhammad bin Hanafiyah. Imam Hussain wrote a will to his brother, stating that he did not embark on this journey out of pride or corruption, but to reform the ummah of his grandfather. Imam Hussain set out from Medina towards Mecca. On the way, he met Abdullah, who inquired about his intentions. Imam Hussain replied that he intended to go to Mecca for now and would pray to God for guidance on what to do next. Imam Hussain arrived in Mecca 5 days later, on 3rd Shaban 60. The pilgrims who had come to visit the Kaaba welcomed him. During his journey from Medina to Mecca, he stopped at several places. He stayed in Mecca from 3rd Shaban to 8th Dhu al-Hijjah, a period of over 4 months. The people of Mecca were very happy with his arrival and benefited from his presence. Not long after Imam Hussein's arrival in Mecca, the people of Kufa learned of Hazrat Muawiyah's death and that Imam Hussain and Abdullah bin Zubair had refused to pledge allegiance to Yazid. Consequently, the people of Kufa gathered at the house of Sulaiman bin Sharad and wrote a letter inviting Imam Hussain to Kufa. Within 2 days, the Kufans sent 150 letters, each signed by at least 1 or 2 individuals, inviting Imam Hussain to Kufa. In response to these letters, Imam Hussain sent his cousin Muslim bin Aqil to assess the situation in Kufa. If Muslim confirmed the sincerity of the Kufans, Imam Hussain would follow. An imam, he explained, is one who acts according to the Book of God, upholds justice, follows the religion of truth, and dedicates himself to God. Muslim bin Aqil secretly left Mecca on 15th Ramadan and arrived in Kufa on 5th Shawwal. He stayed at the house of Mukhtar bin Abi Ubaidah al-Thaqafi. Upon learning of Muslim's arrival, the people of Kufa began visiting him. Muslim read out Imam Hussein's letter and started taking their pledges of allegiance. Approximately 12,000, 18,000, or even 30,000 people pledged allegiance to Imam Hussain through Muslim bin Aqil and promised to support him. Muslim bin Aqil then wrote a letter to Imam Hussain, informing him of the large number of supporters and advising him to come to Kufa. When Yazid learned of the Kufans' allegiance to Imam Hussain and the lenient attitude of Kufa's governor, Nu'man bin Bashir, he appointed Ubaydullah bin Ziyad, the governor of Basra, as the new governor of Kufa. Upon assuming his new role, bin Ziyad began searching for those who had pledged allegiance to Imam Hussain and started intimidating the tribal leaders. History tells us that the people, fearing bin Ziyad's threats, began to distance themselves from Muslim bin Aqil. By nightfall, Muslim was left alone, seeking a place to hide. After a fight with the soldiers, he surrendered under the promise of protection from Muhammad bin Asad. Imam Hussain was given the news of the martyrdom of his cousin Muslim bin Aqil. Muslim bin Aqil had written a letter to Imam Hussain stating that the situation in Kufa was in his favor, and many people had pledged their allegiance to him. However, Yazid suddenly changed the situation by replacing the governor of Kufa, Nu'man bin Bashir, with Ubaydullah bin Ziyad. Ubaydullah bin Ziyad began arresting and killing people, and eventually, Muslim bin Aqil was martyred. The conditions in Kufa drastically changed, and Ubaydullah bin Ziyad announced that anyone who renounced their allegiance to Muslim bin Aqil would be granted amnesty. He summoned the leaders of each neighborhood and held them responsible for the security of their areas. Muslim bin Aqil went to the house of Hani bin Urwa, a supporter of the Al-Bayt. When Ubaydullah bin Ziyad learned about this, he summoned Hani bin Urwa and demanded that he surrender Muslim bin Aqil. When Hani refused, he was arrested and tortured. A rumor spread that Hani bin Urwa had been killed, prompting Muslim bin Aqil to lead 18,000 supporters to besiege Ubaydullah's palace. At that time, Ubaydullah only had 50 men with him. He cunningly dispersed the crowd, leaving Muslim bin Aqil with only 30 men. Forced to hide, Muslim bin Aqil sought refuge in an elderly woman's house, but her son, lured by the promise of a reward, and informed Ubaydullah bin Ziyad. Ubeydullah's men besieged the house, and Muslim bin Aqil fought bravely but was ultimately captured. Despite being promised safety, he was sentenced to death. Before his execution, he asked that his message be delivered to Imam Hussain: "Do not trust the people of Kufa and return from wherever you have reached." This message was conveyed to Imam Hussain. Imam Hussain looked towards the sky and prayed for the protection of his grandfather's religion. Upon learning of Muslim bin Aqil's martyrdom and the betrayal of the Kufans, who had repeatedly invited him, Imam Hussain continued his journey. The magnitude of his mission compelled him to move forward despite the betrayal and sorrow. Imam Hussain received hundreds of letters from Kufa, and in response, he sent Muslim bin Aqil. The Kufans, however, martyred him. Abdullah bin Jafar and Umar bin Sa'd met Imam Hussain in Mecca and tried to persuade him not to go to Kufa. Umar bin Sa'd promised that if Imam Hussain returned to Mecca, he would mediate with Yazid to ensure Imam Hussein's safety and resolve any issues. However, Imam Hussain refused this advice and decided to continue his journey to Kufa, guided by his own conscience. Abdullah bin Jafar had to return, but he left his sons, Muhammad and On, with Imam Hussain. On the way, the famous poet Farazdak met Imam Hussain and informed him that while people's hearts were with him, their swords were with Banu Umayyah. He added that divine will would prevail, but Imam Hussain continued his journey to Kufa despite these warnings. To counter Imam Hussain, the governor of Kufa, who was known for his harshness, was informed of Imam Hussein's departure. He sent his commander, bin Numair, ahead to prepare for a confrontation at Qadisiyah. Upon reaching the place called Hedges, Imam Hussain wrote a letter to the people of Kufa and sent it through his messenger, Qays. The letter informed them of his arrival and instructed them to prepare for his reception and support. When Hazrat Qays reached Qadisiyah, he was captured by the soldiers of bin Ziyad and brought before him. Bin Ziyad commanded Qays to climb the roof of the palace and curse Imam Hussain. Hazrat Qays ascended the roof, praised Allah, and then boldly proclaimed, "O people of Kufa, Imam Hussain, the grandson of the Prophet, son of Fatima, is the best among you. I am his messenger to you. He has reached Hajiz. Come and support him." He then cursed bin Zayed and prayed for Hazrat Ali. Bin Zayed, infuriated by his bravery, ordered him to be thrown from the roof. The soldiers complied, and Hazrat Qais was martyred. Continuing their journey towards Kufa, Imam Hussain and his companions met Abdullah bin Mutiyah at a resting place. Abdullah stood up and asked, "May my parents be sacrificed for you. Where are you going, and what is your purpose?" Imam Hussain explained his intentions. Abdullah pleaded with him, saying, "By Allah and the sanctity of Islam, I implore you not to go to Kufa. The people of Kufa will betray you and kill you. If they kill you, there will be no one left whom they fear. Your death would mean the loss of the sanctity of Islam and the Prophet's family." But Imam Hussain remained firm in his resolve and continued towards Kufa. Upon hearing more distressing news, Imam Hussain gathered his companions and declared, "The people of Kufa have deceived us, and our supporters have deserted us. Whoever wishes to leave is free to do so. I do not hold anyone responsible." With this announcement, many who had joined along the way departed, leaving only those who had come from Mecca with Imam Hussain. As they continued their journey, they arrived at a place called Zubala. Here, Imam Hussain received the news of the martyrdom of his cousin, Muslim bin Aqil. This news was a great shock, and the treachery of the people of Kufa became apparent. Despite this, Imam Hussain continued towards Kufa, driven by a sense of duty and purpose, refusing to turn back even in the face of such adversity. "I implore you in the name of God to return. You are heading towards a desolate place and the swords of your enemies. Those who have invited you, if they had first dealt with their enemies and then called you after securing their city, then your journey would have been reasonable. However, in this situation, it is not appropriate for you to proceed." Imam Hussain replied, "What you say is not hidden from me, but fate is unstoppable." As they continued their journey, they noticed movement in the distance. On closer inspection, they realized it was a cavalry unit. Imam Hussain and his companions took a strategic position near a hill and prepared for the encounter. They were setting up camp when 1,000 cavalry soldiers, led by Har bin Yazid Rayahi, approached and set up their camp opposite them. Imam Hussain instructed his companions to drink plenty of water and water their horses in preparation for the encounter. As the noon prayer time approached, the soldiers of both sides gathered for prayer. Imam Hussain offered water to the opposing soldiers who were thirsty. He then asked his muezzin to call the azan, call to prayer, and everyone gathered for prayer. Imam Hussain led the congregational prayer, including the soldiers of Har bin Yazid. After the prayer, Imam Hussain addressed both his companions and the opposing soldiers. He said, "O people, I am here in response to your letters and requests. You stated that you have no imam and leader and asked me to come to lead you. If you are still committed to your promises, I will proceed to Kufa. If your opinions have changed and you no longer wish for my presence, I will return to where I came from." The crowd remained silent. Imam Hussain then asked Har bin Yazid, "Will you pray separately with your men or join us?" Har replied, "No, we will pray behind you." Both groups performed the afternoon prayer together, led by Imam Hussain. After the prayer, Imam Hussain again addressed the crowd and explained his purpose and the deceit of the people of Kufa. Har bin Yazid said that they had no knowledge of the letters and were merely following orders from their superiors to not let Imam Hussain pass. Imam Hussain showed the letters they had received, but Har bin Yazid insisted on taking him to bin Zayed. Imam Hussain refused, stating that he would rather die than submit to such orders. After some debate, Har bin Yazid suggested that Imam Hussain take a different route, avoiding Kufa and Medina, while they send letters to bin Zayed and Yazid, hoping for a resolution. Imam Hussain and his companions changed their course towards the desert. Har bin Yazid and his men continued to follow them. During this journey, Imam Hussain addressed his companions and the soldiers again, emphasizing their duty to oppose tyrannical rulers who violate divine laws and break the covenant of Allah, oppose the practice of the messenger, commit oppression and injustice with Allah's servants, and despite seeing such deeds, do not deter him from any calamity or failure. So it is incumbent upon Allah that he should place him in hell with this unjust ruler. And you also know that Yazid and his regime have chosen the path of Satan and abandoned the path of the merciful, spreading corruption on earth, making the Islamic treasury their own, considering themselves its owners, making lawful what Allah has forbidden, and making unlawful what He has declared lawful. And I am more deserving than others. I have received your letters and messages through your delegates, promising that you will not leave my side and will consider my life as dear as yours. Now, if you stay steadfast on your oath, you will receive guidance. I am the son of the beloved prophet, the ink of the liver of Fatima. I am your well-wisher, and you are with me in thought. You should follow my advice. If you do not, and break my allegiance, and go against my covenant, then you will gain nothing from those who have been with me, such as my brother Ali and my uncle Muslim bin Aqil. And that man is deceiving you according to your standards and deceiving you. You have ruined your share of the hereafter and done injustice in your right. And the person who breaks the pledge suffers his loss. It is likely that Allah will grant me success over you. Peace. Write a letter to Ubaidullah bin Ziyad, and if you wish, you can also write a letter to Yazid so that this matter may end peacefully and safely. In my view, this action is much better than the story of me getting involved in a war with you. Imam Ali Makam, Imam Hussain bin Ali, along with his companions, left when they were 38 miles from Kasaya, and bin Yazid was traveling with them. Early in the morning, Imam Ali Makam, Imam Hussain bin Ali, halted at a place called Al-Baita, offered the Fajr prayer, and then continued their journey with their companions and family. By the afternoon, they reached the land of Nainawa, and a messenger from Ubaidullah bin Ziyad, the accursed, handed over a letter to bin Yazid. In the letter, bin Ziyad wrote that as soon as you receive this letter, deal strictly with Hussein bin Ali and force them to halt on a land without water. I have ensured that no harm will come to you until you inform me that you have followed my orders. After reading the letter of Ubaidullah bin Ziyad, Imam Ali Makam, Imam Hussain bin Ali, said, "Let us go to Nainawa or Gajaraya." Bin Yazid said this is not possible because Ubaidullah bin Ziyad has left spies on me. One of the companions of Imam Ali Makam, Hazrat Zahir, may Allah be pleased with him, said, "By God, I feel that we will face many difficulties after this. O son of the Prophet, it is easier to fight Yazid and his companions right now than to fight those who will follow them. By my life, there are those behind them whom we do not have the strength to fight." Imam Hussain said, "You are correct, but I will never be the initiator of a battle." With this, the Imam continued his journey until they reached Karbala. Bin Yazid and his companions stood in front of Imam Ali Makam, Imam Hussain bin Ali, and stopped them from proceeding. Many historical sources indicate that Imam Ali Makam, Imam Hussain bin Ali, and his companions reached the land of Karbala on the 2nd of Muharram in the year 61 Hijri. Tamam Dinuri has recorded the arrival of Imam Hussain bin Ali in Karbala on the 1st of Muharram, when Har bin Yazid al-Rayahi said to the Imam, "Settle here because the river is close." The Imam asked, "What is this place called?" People said, "Karbala." The Imam said, "This is the land of suffering and trial. My father once camped here while going to Siffin, and I was with him. When he asked about the name of this place, people told him, and he said, 'Here is where our mounts will kneel, and our blood will be shed.'" Imam Ali Makam, Imam Hussain bin Ali, said, "This is the place where our mounts will kneel, and our blood will be shed." Then he ordered to unload the belongings, and it was done so. This was on Thursday, the 2nd of Muharram. According to another narration, it was Wednesday, the 1st of Muharram in the year 61 Hijri. It is said that after setting up camp in Karbala, the Imam gathered his sons, brothers, and household members, and looked at them with a tearful eye. He said, "O Allah, behold the family of your Prophet, who have been expelled from their homes, and are wandering in a state of helplessness and confusion. O Allah, take our right from those who have oppressed us, and grant us victory over the oppressors." Afterwards, he turned towards his companions and said, "People are slaves of this world, and religion is only on their tongues until they face trials. When tested, there are few who remain faithful." On the 2nd of Muharram in the year 61 Hijri, Imam Ali Makam, Imam Hussain bin Ali, and his companions camped on the land of Karbala. Bin Yazid wrote a letter to Ubaydullah bin Ziyad informing him of this matter. As soon as he received the letter, Ubaydullah bin Ziyad sent a letter to Imam Hussain in which he wrote, "As for what follows, I have received the news that you have camped in Karbala. Yazid has ordered me to prevent you from accessing water and to take strict measures against you." According to a narration, after reading the letter, Imam Hussain bin Ali threw it aside and said, "Those who have prioritized their own desires and pleasures over the pleasure of Allah will never succeed." Bin Ziyad's messenger asked, "O Abba Abdullah, will you not respond to this letter?" The Imam said, "The response to this letter is Allah's painful punishment, which will soon engulf him." The messenger conveyed this to bin Ziyad. Ubaydullah bin Ziyad ordered an army to be formed to fight against Imam Hussain. Umar bin Saud reached Karbala on the 3rd of Muharram in the year 61 Hijra with an army of 4,000 soldiers. Bin Ziyad had appointed Umar bin Saud as the governor of Ray and had written a letter appointing him as the ruler. He ordered Umar to proceed to Ray and take control of the area. However, when the issue of Imam Hussein's journey to Kufa arose, bin Ziyad summoned Umar and ordered him to first confront Imam Hussain bin Ali, and after completing this task, proceed to Ray. Umar bin Saud did not want to fight against Imam Hussain and sought to be excused from this task. However, bin Ziyad linked his governorship of Ray to the condition that his first fight against Imam Hussain, Umar bin Saud, compelled, left with 4,000 soldiers to confront the Imam. Umar bin Saud tried every possible way to avoid the ordeal of fighting against Hazrat Hussain bin Ali, but bin Ziyad did not listen and sent him to battle. When Umar bin Saud reached Imam Hussain, he asked him the reason for coming to Kufa. Imam Hussain explained the whole situation and said that he came because the people of Kufa called him. If they have now changed their opinion, he is ready to return. Umar bin Saud wrote a letter to bin Ziyad stating that Hussain is ready to return. Bin Ziyad replied with a single condition for Hussain. He must pledge allegiance to Yazid. Once he does that, they will decide what to do with him. Furthermore, he ordered Umar bin Saud to cut off the water supply to Hussain and his companions. This happened 3 days before Imam Hussein's martyrdom. When everyone was suffering from thirst, Imam Hussain sent his brother Hazrat Abbas Alamdar to fetch water. Later, Imam Hussain sent a message to Umar bin Saud, suggesting a meeting between their armies that night to discuss matters. Umar bin Saud met him accordingly. Imam Hussain proposed 3 options. 1. He would return to where he came from. 2. He would go directly to Yazid and settle the matter himself. And 3. He would be sent to a Muslim border area to live there. Some sources deny that Imam Hussain proposed the last 2 options. Upon hearing Imam Hussein's speech, Umar bin Saud wrote another letter to bin Ziyad stating that Hussain had offered 3 options, any of which would be beneficial for the Muslim community. Bin Ziyad was influenced by the letter and thought it came from someone who wanted both his leaders and his community's best interests. However, Shimar bin Dil Joshan objected, arguing that if Hussain were given a chance, he would gain strength and never be controlled again. He suspected Umar bin Saud of colluding with Hussain and advised bin Ziyad to force Hussain to surrender unconditionally, so he could be either punished or pardoned. If Hussain refused, he should be killed. Bin Ziyad sent a harsh message to Umar bin Saud, instructing him to fight Hussain if he did not surrender and to kill him and his companions. After killing them, he was to trample their bodies with horses. If Umar bin Saud followed these orders, he would be rewarded. Otherwise, he should hand over command to Shimar. Shimar delivered the message and obtained safe passage for his 4 nephews, Abbas, Abdullah, Jafar, and Uthman, from bin Ziyad. Shimar sent them this safe passage, but they all rejected it, stating that if the grandson of the Prophet was not safe, they did not need such safety. They cursed Shimar and his offer. When Shimar reached Umar bin Saud with the orders, Umar lamented that the potential peace among Muslims was shattered. Eventually, Imam Hussain was informed of bin Ziyad's conditions, which he refused, stating that death was preferable to such humiliation. On the 9th of Muharram, Shimar arrived, and Imam Hussain was resting outside his tent. He had a dream where his grandfather, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, told him he would soon join him. Imam Hussein's sister, Zainab, noticed his distress and inquired about it. He consoled her after sharing the dream. As Shimar approached, Abbas confronted him, and Shimar announced that there would be no delay in the attack. Abbas informed Imam Hussain, who then requested that the battle be delayed until the next day so that they could pray, make their wills, and seek forgiveness. This request was granted, and Shimar withdrew. Imam Hussain gathered his family and companions and delivered a sermon, expressing gratitude to Allah in both ease and hardship. He thanked Allah for granting them the honor of prophethood, ears, eyes, and hearts, through which they could understand His signs, and for bestowing upon them the Quran. After praising Allah, Imam Hussain addressed his companions, emphasizing that he had never seen companions more loyal and steadfast than his own, nor family members more faithful than his own family. He thanked them for their loyalty and stated his belief that the next day would be their last. He gave them permission to leave, urging them to take advantage of the night to escape, as the enemy was only after him. He suggested they each take a member of his family and disperse to different regions, ensuring their safety. His companions and family members, including his brother, children, nephews, and the sons of Abdullah bin Ja'far, collectively refused, asserting that they would never abandon him and would sacrifice their lives, children, and wealth for him. Muslim bin Usaja delivered a passionate speech, expressing his determination to defend Imam Hussain until his last breath. Imam Hussein's sister, Sayyida Zainab bint Ali, became distressed, and he comforted her, advising her to remain patient and avoid tearing her clothes or wailing loudly after his martyrdom. He then gathered his companions and spent the night in prayer, supplication, and seeking forgiveness. On the day of Ashura, after everyone had completed their prayers, Umar bin Saud approached with his army. Imam Hussain had 72 companions with him, 32 horsemen, and 40 infantrymen. He organized his companions for battle, while Umar bin Saud divided his army, assigning leaders to different units. One of the leaders, Amr bin Hajjaj, was sent with 1,000 men to fight against Hussein. Al-Har bin Yazid, who had initially obstructed Hussein's path, felt deep remorse and, filled with love for the Ahlul Bayt, defected to Imam Hussein's side. He confessed his regret for his earlier actions and sought forgiveness, stating that he was now willing to sacrifice his life in battle for Imam Hussain. Imam Hussain, mounted on his horse, addressed the enemy troops, asking them to listen to his final words and understand his reasons for coming. He explained his lineage and connection to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, questioning whether it was justifiable to kill him and violate his honor. He reminded them of his status as the grandson of the Prophet, the son of Ali, and the nephew of Hamza, all of whom were revered figures in Islam. He cited hadiths affirming his and his family's honorable status, asking if these were not sufficient reasons to spare his life. He also questioned whether he had committed any crime deserving of such a fate. Imam Hussain specifically called out to prominent figures among the enemy, asking if he should not be allowed to seek refuge in a safe place. Ka'b bin Jabir suggested he submit to bin Zayed, but Imam Hussain refused, recalling the martyrdom of Muslim bin Aqil. Imam Hussain then dismounted and stood beside Zuhair bin Kain, who also advised the enemy to refrain from spilling the blood of the Prophet's family, warning them of the consequences of their actions and the inevitable betrayal by bin Zayed. Despite these pleas, the enemy troops remained resolute, influenced by the promises of rewards and positions from bin Zayed. As Imam Hussain and his companions prepared for battle, they understood the inevitability of their fate, yet remained steadfast in their resolve, ready to defend their faith and honor until the very end. Bin Zayed was praised and said, "We will kill you all and send you to bin Zayed." He then said, "Oppressors, wake up. The son of Fatima, Hussein bin Ali, is more beloved and honorable than the son of Sumayya bin Zayed. If you do not help him, leave him alone." When Hur bin Yazid, who had now joined the army of Imam Hussain, advanced and addressed the people, saying, "People of Kufa, you are ruining the truth. Did you invite him here only to kill him? You said you would sacrifice your lives and wealth for him, but now you are afraid of killing him and not even allowing him to go to a land of peace." Hur bin Yazid stepped forward, and people began throwing arrows at him. He retreated and stood in front of Hussein bin Ali. Thereafter, arrows began to rain, and fierce fighting ensued. Many from the opposition were killed, and Hussein bin Ali's companions were martyred. Hur bin Yazid was killed while fighting bravely with Hussein bin Ali. Muslim bin Asajat was injured and fell. Habib bin Mazahir approached him and said, "Rejoice in the news of paradise for you. If I knew I would be martyred after you, I would have asked for your will." Muslim bin Asajat said, "Yes, one will. Protect Hussein bin Ali as long as you live." Then the wicked Shimr launched an attack from all sides on the Imam and his companions. Imam Hussain resisted bravely. Wherever he attacked the enemy lines, the field cleared. Umar bin Saud called for reinforcements. A fierce battle ensued, with Hussein bin Ali and his companions fighting valiantly. The enemies set fire to tents, and many were martyred. Hazrat Abu Thamama said, "My life is for you. I wish to be martyred before you, but it is time for prayer. I wish to perform my prayer before Allah." Imam Hussain called out loudly, asking to pause the battle for prayers. Despite the battle's intensity, arrows continued to fly, and Abu Thamama was martyred. Imam Hussain performed the Zuhr prayer, followed by further fighting. Imam Hussein's eldest son, Ali Akbar, stepped forward, reciting a poem. "I am Ali, son of Hussein, son of Ali. I swear by the Lord of the Kaaba, we are closest to the Messenger of Allah." The wretched Murrah struck him down. Imam Hussain brought his son's body back to the tents. Umar bin Saud struck Qasim bin Hassan's head with a sword. Imam Hussain defended Qasim, cutting Umar's hand. Carrying Qasim's body, he laid it next to his son. Now alone, Imam Hussain continued fighting fiercely. Despite his severe wounds and thirst, none dared approach him directly. A coward named Malik bin Nushara attacked Imam Hussain with a sword, severely injuring him. Holding his young son Ali Asghar, a wretched man shot the child with an arrow, killing him. Imam Hussain placed the child's body on the ground, raising his face to the sky, praying for divine justice. Imam Hussain, weakened by thirst and wounds, tried to reach the river for water. A cruel enemy shot an arrow at his mouth, causing it to bleed. Shimr led 10 men towards Imam Hussain. Despite his severe injuries, the Imam fought valiantly. Witnesses noted his unparalleled bravery. Seeing no one willing to kill the Imam, Shimr commanded a mass attack. They attacked fiercely, and Imam Hussain fell, martyred. Shimr ordered his head to be severed by Sinan bin Anas. After his martyrdom, the enemy turned towards Imam Zain al-Abidin. Shimr wanted to kill him, but Hamid bin Muslim intervened, arguing to spare the child. Umar bin Saud commanded to leave the tents alone. Bin Zayad's orders were to trample Hussein's body with horses. Umar bin Saud's soldiers carried out this atrocity. Imam Hussain and his companions, 72 in number, were martyred. The opposing army lost 88 soldiers. The bodies of Imam Hussain and his companions were buried by the Banu Asad tribe a few days later. The story of Karbala is not just a historical event, but a timeless narrative that continues to inspire and guide millions around the world. Hussein bin Ali's unwavering stand against tyranny and his ultimate sacrifice serve as a beacon of justice and moral integrity. As we remember Karbala, we are reminded of the enduring power of faith and the importance of standing up for what is right, no matter the odds.